So our first presenter today is going to be Dylan Steen, Dr. Dylan Steen. He's the co-founder and CEO of High Enroll LLC. Dr. Steen received his postdoctoral research training at the TIMI Study Group directly under the mentorship of Dr. Eugene Braunwald. He also completed an MS in epidemiology at the Harvard School of Public Health. He has led global, national, and local studies and enjoys connections to the senior-most levels of global research leadership. He serves as the CEO and co-founder of High Enroll, a company sparked by decades of work on global, national, and site-level recruitment challenges. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dylan, and feel free to get going.
Good day, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. What a wonderful group of talks, and I'm always learning, so I really appreciate all the new information. So I'll tell you a little about High Enroll. As mentioned, I'm one of the founders. We're creating a solution for marketing, communications, and engagement in order to optimize the design and enrollment of research studies. So my background is mentioned. I worked at the TIMI Study Group, which is a large academic research organization. It's out of the Harvard system. They do regulatory pathway trials, billion-dollar budgets, 50 countries, 30,000 patients. So very, very big studies. And the reason it mattered was that it was a real opportunity to understand how studies are done around the world, what things differ country by country, what things don't, and to also understand the pain points, not only at the site level, but at the leadership level for sites. My co-founder is Ginger Conway, a research nurse manager, someone who has also cut her teeth on enrollment and enrollment challenges her entire career. Matt Borst is our chief technical officer. He's a very experienced entrepreneur and software architect. His biggest exit was .loop. .loop was a company he founded that really disrupted the real estate industry. They had a large exit to Zillow. He's been absolutely wonderful leading our tech team. Many of you may know Deepak Bhatt, a wonderful mentor, just an amazing person, really outstanding clinical trialist. He's been involved with an enormous number of startups. He's a friend. He joined our board about a year ago. Cliff Browning, took a long time to find him, spent 25 years in healthcare sales and business development. He's been involved with a number of startups and very successful exits. He's someone with a lot of experience, but also knows how to roll up his sleeves and build a sales pipeline from nothing. And then Joel Barbihan, lawyer, business development expert. He started at a startup called SparkPost a number of years ago. SparkPost was acquired for $600 million about a year ago. So we have good research expertise, I think, good sales, good tech expertise, and 4 out of 6 of us have experience with exits. So in terms of backgrounds, I mean, obviously this is a very educated audience, but just to go over it, study sponsors pay for research studies. There are these groups called academic or clinical research organizations that support the study sponsors in executing trials. These are massive human undertakings. But it's really the sites where all the action is in terms of enrollment. And studies can have between 1, maybe even more than 1,000 sites. And these sites can be all around the globe. And these sites are actually contracted by the companies to enroll the participants, to find them and enroll them. So enrollment, if we talk about it, is really the work of research sites. So that's where the solutions have to be. The problem right now, enrollment at research sites is really poor. It's actually the #1 operational and financial challenge in clinical research, period. And a big reason for that is many of you are healthcare providers, so you know this, is that studies come and go at research sites and no one's aware that the study ever came to the site at all. And who would need to know about it at the site? Well, all the healthcare providers touching, talking to their patients, the patients themselves, referring institutions and other stakeholders at the site. So right now, sites don't have a way to fix this problem. The impact of poor enrollment on industry is big. Right now, when CROs and pharma companies choose sites in the US, 50% of them enroll 1 or 0 patients. So it's really difficult, even when you have experts picking the right sites to actually get enrollment to budge. 4 out of 5 studies fail to meet basic enrollment deadlines. It's now the most expensive part of a research study. And companies lose $8 million a day in revenue for each day of delay of a drug to market. I've seen compounds be delayed by years because of enrollment challenges. How do sites do it now? Well, it's this magical thing called paper. You may have heard of it. These are pocket cards. I'm sure most of you who have been in clinical practice at one point had these in your white coats. Each one might have a study on it, but it's obviously limited. It's not scalable. It never stays updated. People lose them, et cetera. And then how do we market to patients? This is an example of paper care pads. These are most hospital systems in the country. I love this picture of Matt because the first time I showed him how it actually happens at our research sites, and we took these tours, he's like, wow, this is exactly what we did at Dotloop. We took a paper-based process and digitized it so it was scalable and really effective. So we're two founders in this company, both come from research, but we are consistently trying to validate that we understand the actual pain points. We actually understand what the sites and what people like us and people like you who practice need. So we focus really initially on three stakeholders: the research site administration and staff, the internal and external healthcare providers at the site, and the patients that flow through the system and also the surrounding community. We did an enormous amount of research on what their pain points are and really based our initial development around the biggest pain points. And of course, we constantly revisit our hypotheses along the way. This is what we've had now in the marketplace for 2 years. So we built a web-based portal for each research team at one of our customers to use. They can use this platform to really create the best possible updated comprehensive content on each study and then push it out to key stakeholders, research staff and providers. So that could be the coordinators, that could be healthcare providers internally and externally, that could be patients flowing through the system as well as the broader public. We created the tools by which each end user accesses this really great content. And just to mention here, it is open access. So we are trying to bring as many people under the research umbrella as possible. Research has been too difficult, too restrictive for too long. There are also implications for those looking to promote diversity, as we are in trials, by really allowing the platform to get everywhere in the community and really bring research to everybody. It's also incredibly simple and painless. That was one of the biggest issues we dealt with healthcare providers and patients. Everyone's burned out. The tech and research has been way too complicated for too long. We feed all the data back from all this trackable, platform back to the research site so it can actually do performance improvement for the first time. The way we do these contracts with these research sites, we sign them up for 3 years. It's a SaaS contract. We bring them on free and fast. Most of them are running financially in the red. So they don't have money to go get, especially after COVID. And the reality is we want to bring them on quickly. And then they pay us for each new enrolling study they put in the platform. They pass all that on to industry sponsors. So, and actually the way they do it is they can upcharge and they can actually make additional revenue just by partnering with High Enroll. So we really help avoid or alleviate that pain point as well and give them financial stability. We now have 24 research sites on board across 15 states and District of Columbia. We're growing around 340%. This will be above 400% here soon. All kinds of sites, so large, medium, small, any type of site, university, large community system, small private practice, or typical research site in any research area. We've got skin surgery, we've got plastic surgery, cardiology, oncology, you name it. This problem we are solving is for every research team looking to enroll participants. We have an additional 18 contracts that will soon be signed, and we have over 160 deals active in our pipeline that will hopefully soon enter into contracting. At each site, the sites pay through that model where they offload it all to industry sponsors, but everyone else gets it for free. The goal is to bring everyone under the umbrella, really bring research into the work of the site, but also into the lives of the community. This is the feedback. And right now we are moving on to the next stakeholder, which is the pharma and medical device manufacturers. This is what the ultimate vision looks like. We will have multiple customer groups. We will create great content they may create themselves. We will repurpose this content and really make it sing through a variety of different mechanisms, push it out in a variety of different ways, including third-party marketing. It's all trackable. We all feed it back so we can phenotype the site. We'll be enriching it with census data, DRG data, and others. and give this insight back so companies, others can design studies, design strategies. And it's really a circular system because the same system now can also take those database insights and deliver the solutions in real time to improve enrollment. We built AI in, we'll continue to build it further in. We're scaling the number of sites we have in the US right now. One more minute. Okay, well, can I give you one more? Okay.
Yeah, really
All right,
quickly.
one more minute. So we're growing a large network where companies can directly come to us and basically pick all their sites and just run the whole study off our network. We've now attracted a bunch of partners in industry. We actually signed our first industry contract. We have 6 different strategic partner types, and this will lead to high revenues. And one of our partners is CPC Clinical Research, is really going to help us innovate in conjunction with industry and with sites at a big, big level. And so this is our summary. Thank you. Sorry for going over.
No problem. Great. Thank you so much. And for all of our startups today, I'm going to be a little bit hampering down on the time limit because I know once we go over, the minutes tend to build up and I want to get everybody out on time today. So with that, do our judges have any questions for this startup?
Great presentation and pitch. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, can hear you well.
Okay. Yes. Congratulations on all your project and traction. I'm curious, and wonderful to see all the clients in your pipeline. When would you hit revenue kind of positive, and how are you doing on as far as burn rate?
Yeah, so fundraising. So I love the last talk before this because I've been fundraising. I'm a first-time entrepreneur. It was harder than I ever imagined. So we really scaled down our burn. We're about $35,000 a month. Which is great. Everyone stayed, everyone believes. And the reality is we could be profitable, I think, at the end of 2024, but the reality is I think we're going to want to move faster and expand into the global marketplace. Pharma has already asked us to be in 14 additional countries that are key for regulatory approvals, like Japan, Germany, France, etc. So it just, I think it depends on how quickly we want to grow. We plan to raise our Series A in the second half of 2024. We're currently raising our seed round this summer.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a couple. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Christopher.
Okay, I have a couple of quick questions. One is, this is obviously a much needed type of service product. It's also not the only one out there in the market. Can you speak a little bit about how this is differentiated from competitors? And then secondly, can you speak a little bit about the go-to-market and customer acquisition costs? Is this something that once you're in with a health system, they'll continue, it's easier to, you have your beachhead there, it's easier to launch into other studies, or do you have to continue to sell them over and over?
Sure. So the first question was it go-to-market?
Differentiation from competitors.
Yeah, differentiation. So obviously, clinical research is a massive sort of market with many, many problems. There are research enrollment companies that do things that are different than us. As an example, AI-based technologies that will mine electronic health records. We don't play in that space. Where our white space is how do we bring awareness and engagement to broad swaths of people, more diverse people, and really do it at scale and give everyone what they need to make decisions about studies? And how do we sort of track all that to put together the whole story? So in our space, I think the differentiators, if you look at that, are that we target patients, community, and healthcare providers. Most systems do not. And then also just how frictionless we are. If you look at, like, let's say Epic has a login. Epic is only limited to the people who use it. We are open access, multi-channel for everybody. So we are the most frictionless. And then we also do it for all the stakeholders at the site level because research is local at the end of the day. Sick patients are not traveling around the country for studies in vast majority. It's what's happening in the community that matters to them and what matters to their family. And I don't think anyone else is doing that. We're in that quadrant by ourselves.
We have time for one more question.
I have a question. I have a question about the customer groups. You describe them as the pharma, academic, and research side. Can you actually comment on the customers in the end of in terms of the end patients? What is your success of actually reaching the actual enrollment and saving shortening the timelines when it comes to the patient enrollment? Not the clients who hire you, but the actual patients.
Yeah, so that's a good question. So we don't capture PHI in our system. That's one of the reasons that we can be so broadly accessible. We are now doing a research study with Minneapolis Heart. They're a very renowned research site to sort of look at, really quantitate rigorously the effect on enrollment. Since we're sort of upstream, we have to link to data within the system to do that. And then with our first pharma customer right now, which we've started supporting, and MedPace is the CRO on that, we're actually looking at that. So we will have those granular data. I mean, we know we're bumping enrollment already because we hear it all the time, but we have to quantitate in a more rigorous way. We will have those data within the next 12 months, but we know we exponentially increase awareness, engagement, referrals. We know all that because we can prove it through our system.
Thank you so much, Dylan. Great presentation. Unfortunately, time